The Amazing Transparent Man is a 1960 sci-fi noir film from director Edgar G Ulmer. The movie opens with repeat offender Joey Faust breaking out of prison. Wow, a Gatling gun! Multiple Gatling guns! And they still miss! These guys need to go back to the range until they learn how to shoot. Their aim's about as good as your average 11-year-old Call of Duty player. The Amazing Transparent Man. Apparently he's also the Amazing Bulletproof Man. Faust is escaping through the woods while the police release the hounds. His accomplice Laura picks him up on this terrifying-looking bridge. I don't trust any bridges without sides. Somewhere along the way, Faust was able to change into a tuxedo. They drive along for a while, but get stopped at a police checkpoint. Faust wants to go out shooting, but decides to play it safe.
What about your husband's?
Well, that's why I'm playing chauffeur. His license was suspended. Drunk driving.
Well, there's no need to bother him. He's had enough trouble for one night without waking up and staring into the badge of an officer.
This guy looks a lot like who we're supposed to be on the lookout for. However, he's got half his face covered with a hat. It can't be him. Laura takes him to a house in the middle of nowhere. They go to the front gate to meet the guard, Julian. That is some horrible trigger discipline, sir. One sneeze and you're blasting a hole in his stomach. Laura takes him in the house to meet Major Krenner. Krenner's the one who organized his escape.
You did well, my dear. Now run along and freshen up while Mr. Faust and I discuss business.
Hit the bricks, sister. Men are talking. Krenner explains to him he got him out of prison because he needs his special set of skills.
You're bitter, Faust. Mean and bitter. You trust no one and you hate everyone. You're the kind of man I need and understand.
You're crazy like a fox and a loose cannon, which is exactly what I need. Krenner tells him he needs him to steal nuclear material. Then in walks Julian, who really just wants to shoot someone. Faust doesn't want to do it and pulls his gun. Oh boy, Julian, today may finally be the day.
You know what one of these bullets will do, son? It'll rip out your spine and roll it up like a ball of string.
What kind of bullets does this guy have? Krenner tells him that if he doesn't do this, they'll turn him over to the authorities.
I understand there's a reward of $5,000 on your head. You see, they'll also pay $5,000 for a dead Faust.
Oh, I'm an imp. Realizing he's stuck, Faust agrees to work with him. He takes Faust to the lab to introduce him to Dr. Ulof.
Dr. Ulof is an eminent nuclear scientist.
Nuclear. The doctor throws out some science mumbo-jumbo and tries to explain what they'll be doing. The doctor straps in a guinea pig and proceeds to rub his balls together. Faust watches through this tiny window. The doctor flips the switch and... In all seriousness, this effect is kinda cool. To prove the guinea pig's invisible, Faust is told to pet the air nowhere near the animal. They tell Faust they're gonna make him invisible so he can steal undetected. The doctor reverses the polarity or some such nonsense, and the animal reappears, only slightly terrified. So, I'm your human guinea pig? That night, Krenner has to go out, so he tells Julian to make sure Faust doesn't escape. Hey, are you still in here? Oh shit! Faust lures Julian in and knocks him out. Faust goes upstairs to get some answers from the doctor. The doctor tells him Krenner is holding his daughter hostage, and he'll kill her if he doesn't do what he says.
My wife had died of experiments I had been forced to perform on her in a concentration camp.
Oh my! This silly Invisible Man movie just got super dark. Faust goes to unlock the door, but uh-oh, busted! Faust tries to convince Laura to turn on Krenner. If they take the invisibility ray, he can break into any bank vault in broad daylight. Julian's awake. The duo don't want to look incompetent, so they put Faust back in his room and lie to Krenner. The next day, oh, alcohol, take me away. Hey, Laura, what did Five Fingers say to the face? Julian narked on Laura and said she was listening to Faust's offer.
Laura, I don't care what you do with your life, but when it interferes with my plans, I draw the line.
And in case that message wasn't heard the first time...
Well, that's a dot on the I. Lay off the vodka.
Up in the lab, they use the invisibility ray on Faust. They come looking for him, but he's hiding. He's grabbing my bosoms! He then takes some revenge on Krenner. Faust insists that Krenner pay him more money. He scares him by opening doors and windows. Okay, I'll pay whatever you want. Just don't open any more curtains. That night, Laura takes Faust out for his first heist. He walks right past the guard and turns off the alarm. These guards stink. They don't notice the wheel spinning right next to them.
I don't know. I just thought I heard something.
The door opens and the guard dances like he's at a rave. Faust then steals the oil can filled with uranium or something. The doctor tells Krenner the bad news. Mr. Fuzzy Pants has died. It turns out the exposure to the radiation killed him. So it's only a matter of time before the same thing will happen to Faust. Krenner then tells the doctor his master plan.
Because my aim is to make an entire army invisible. Do you understand? An entire army.
An army of invisible bank robbers? You madman! Faust is prepping up for his next heist. He's supposed to steal more nuclear material for Krenner, but instead decides to rob a bank. Laura tries to convince Faust not to do it. Is she developing feelings for him?
You better lay off the giggle water. He can't use you drunk, you know.
Maybe it's a case of my using him. Now come on with a drink.
How could she not? Faust walks right in. You'd think he would have waited and walked in after someone. As luck would have it, the vault's wide open. He grabs a bag of money and takes off. Hey, I have an idea. Your clothing is invisible. Why not put the bag under your jacket? But sure, no one will notice this. It doesn't matter anyway. The invisibility wears off on his way out the door. These people sure look shocked. Oh my god, there is an invisible bank robber. Krenner hears about the botched robbery over the radio. Faust wants to rescue the doctor and his daughter, but can't do that if he's visible. He's trying to ditch Laura when good luck happens. Krenner goes to get Maria, but Faust pushes him into the room and locks the door.
Doc, what's wrong? Why do I keep appearing and disappearing?
It's the plot, Joey, that's why. They go to leave, but Julian has Laura. Laura drops a truth bomb on Julian.
You're a fool. Your son's dead, Julian. Krenner's been using you all along.
Oof. Faust locks up Laura and the rest leave. The doctor tells Faust he's also dying of radiation poisoning. Faust goes back to destroy the machine, so Krenner can't do this to anyone else. Krenner's trapped in the room and decides to blast his way out. How strong is this doorknob? Faust has a change of heart and saves Laura. Thank you so much. I gotta... Oh! Faust follows him upstairs where he gets ambushed. So he dumps acid on him? Why not shoot him? Krenner tries to kill him with a lethal dose of radiation, but Faust manages to stop him. Since the machine's already on, he holds him down to make sure he can't escape. Oh no, if it isn't the consequences of my actions! The beam hits the nuclear material and kaboom! Well, good thing they weren't doing this in town. The police are keeping out anyone who's trying to get into the area. This whole place just went up in a mushroom cloud. These guys are walking around with no protection. Oh, he's got a gas mask on. Wouldn't they all be on fire? The doctor tries to explain himself to the police. He tells them the CIA is very interested in the idea of an invisible army. The doctor thinks the research should die with Faust and Krenner. He then poses a question to the audience.
What would you do?
Well, I don't know. I would... Hey! That's the end? Not even credits? The movie was shot in Texas. The original title of the film was Search for a Shadow, but the distributor changed it to The Amazing Transparent Man because of the popularity of movies like The Incredible Shrinking Man and Attack of the 50-Foot Woman. Search for a Shadow was too artsy. This movie was shot back-to-back with another film, Beyond the Time Barrier. Director Edgar G Ulmer had 11 days to shoot both films. 6 for Beyond the Time Barrier, and 5 for The Amazing Transparent Man. Say what you will about the film, but this looks incredible for a movie shot in 5 days. The character named Joey Faust is a reference to the German legend of Johann Faust, a man who sold his soul to the devil for wealth and fame. The description of the film on the IMDb is just wrong. A crazed scientist invents an invisibility formula. He plans to use the formula to create an army of invisible zombies. Really, it's more like a crazed major kidnaps a scientist and forces him to develop an invisibility formula. The Major uses that formula on an escaped safecracker to steal nuclear materials he can use to create an invisible army. There's nothing in the movie to suggest he's making zombies. The movie was riffed on Season 6 of Mystery Science Theater 3000. The movie was shot in 1959, released by MCP, and then redistributed by AIP in 1960. They released it on a double bill with Gorgo, which Mystery Science Theater 3000 also riffed. Director Edgar G Ulmer, believe it or not, was a really talented director. He'd been working in the industry since the 1920s in Austria-Hungary on movies like The Golem. In 1934, he directed The Black Cat for Universal. His tragic career is quite fascinating, and I'm going to give it a full exploring video probably next year. The Amazing Transparent Man is not that bad of a movie. It's even better when you know that this was made in 5 days. I think with a proper budget and a schedule, this would have turned out much better. The acting's a little ham-fisted at times, but that was very common with these types of films in the 50s. The Invisibility Effect is not bad at all. They were done by Roger George, and this was only his second film doing special effects. He's gone on to do special effects for Blackula, The Terminator, Night of the Creeps, and The Howling, as well as many other films. If you question Ulmer's directing skills, just go back and watch his big breakout film, The Black Cat. The Black Cat was the film that made him, but also ultimately ended up destroying his career in Hollywood. The Amazing Transparent Man is worth seeing. It's a rarity in that it's a sci-fi film that also feels like a film noir. The story's interesting, Douglas Kennedy is quite good as Faust, and James Griffith plays a very gleefully bad guy in Kressner. The movie's only 59 minutes long, so even if you don't like it, it's over before you know it.
And just what are these authorities going to say about your part in the break?
Police need know nothing of my part in the escape. You see, they'll also pay $5,000 for a dead Faust.